Hey everyone, this is Jenny doing a podcast about a young adult mystery for my juvenile lit class. Today I will be talking about The Face on the Milk Carton by Carolyn B. Cooney. This book is about a high school student named Janie Johnson, and one day at lunch Janie is drinking milk, which she should not be doing, by the way, because she's lactose intolerant, but that's another issue. The point is that this is one of those sort of old-fashioned milk cartons that has pictures of missing children on the back. And she looks at the back of the carton, and she recognizes the little girl. Now, the reason she recognizes the little girl is because the little girl is her. Not the kind of problem you run into every day. I mean, if you were a 15-year-old girl with a really awesome family and super loving parents, and you found your picture under a missing persons advertisement, what would you do? Jenny doesn't want to belong to someone else. She likes her parents. How could her parents possibly have kidnapped her? Her parents are good people. She knows them. She loves them. It's a mess. So for a while, Janie tries to keep this a secret, and she does some research. She asks her mom for her birth certificate. Her mom makes all sorts of weird excuses. She pokes around a little. There are no photos of her before she was about 5 years old. No one knows anything about their family before she moved into this town, when she was about 5 years old. Now she's getting more and more worried, and she can't talk to her parents about it, because, well, you don't just go out and say to your parents, "Hey, I think you kidnapped me." That could lead to all sorts of weird problems, whether it's true or not. And she doesn't call the number on the back of the milk carton, because then they might take her away from her parents that she knows and loves, and send her off to some different parents, and that wouldn't be good, because she likes the parents she has, and she doesn't want strange new parents. She's 15 years old. She's formed some attachments, you know? It's just an icky situation. But it's not all insane drama. There's some fun stuff happening, too. In the midst of all this, Janie has started to date Reeve, and Reeve is great. He's the boy next door, so they've known each other and been kind of friends for their whole lives, and he's older, which is, always a good thing when you're in high school. Girls love the older boys, and he's an underachiever in a family of really great students. So he really likes Janie being someone who's there for him to talk to and to kind of impress, because he's cool and older and he drives, and no one in his own family is really impressed by him. But he's super sweet, and he's really the only guy she can confide in, the only person she can confide in. And he skips school one day to drive her all the way over to New Jersey to see the address where her biological family supposedly lives. And it's really cute, even though their parents all freak out. I mean, can you blame them? Two high schoolers, completely out of touch for an entire day. This is the time before cell phones. So no one knew where these kids were, just that they weren't in school and that they were together. And who knows what kind of mischief two teenagers are going to get into an entire day alone. But it all worked out. Back to the actual problems. Janie goes up into the attic one day when no one is home to search for her missing birth certificate. If she can only find the birth certificate, she'll know for sure this is her real family. It's all some horrible mistake. It's some other girl on the milk carton. But when she goes up, she does not find her birth certificate. She finds the dress that she was wearing on the milk carton picture, which is a little concerning, and also a box full of old things, all marked Hannah. She doesn't know any Hannahs. Things get even weirder. And, tensions build for a while, until finally she has to confront her parents, not about the kidnapping, but about the Hannah situation. And they tell her who Hannah is. I'm not going to tell you who Hannah is, because this is a mystery. You can't go around telling people everything about a mystery. That just ruins it, right? So they tell her who Hannah is, which kind of answers the questions about the kidnapping, too. For a while, everything seems to make sense after they explain who Hannah was. And Janie's happy. It's all good. And then she starts thinking about it. And something about the Hannah story still doesn't quite add up, because it explained why she was there with her parents and why there wasn't a birth certificate and all of that, but it didn't explain her picture on the back of a milk carton, which, is what started this whole issue in the first place. So she does some more investigating. She talks some more to Reeve. Unfortunately, she's getting increasingly, freaked out about this. But she can't let it go, and she won't do anything about it. So all she does is complain to Reeve about it. And, she's a 15-year-old girl. Her entire life has basically been shattered, and she can't really tell anyone else about it. So what are you gonna do? But Reeve, he can't do anything to help her. And she won't do anything. He's given her all sorts of different ways to take action and fix this, but she won't do anything except for complain to him. And he gets really frustrated by this because, well, he's a teenage boy and he wants some attention too. And you can only listen to a girl rehashing the exact same problems every day for so many weeks. And they have this enormous fight about it and basically break up. And Janie continues to panic. She still doesn't want to lose her family, the family she knows, but she's more and more sure that something isn't right here. So to kind of cope, she starts writing letters in her notebook to the people who might be her real parents. She doesn't plan to ever send them. She's just writing them to sort of get her thoughts out. But she sort of has an envelope lying around that has her address on it. And she writes the return address of, she writes the address where her biological parents supposedly live on the envelope, just sort of doodling, because it's always on her mind. And then she kind of puts the letter in the envelope, still not really intending to mail it, just thinking about it. And then she drops it somewhere. And she goes all through the school, everywhere she's been all day, and she can't find it. And she's afraid that someone might have picked it up off the ground and mailed it, and her biological parents know that she's out there and exactly where she is out there and everything, and she might lose her real parents. I mean, not her real parents, the parents who might possibly have kidnapped her, but they're her real parents. They're the ones who raised her. They're the ones she loved. And it's really scary. So once the letter is out in the world, that's when things really start happening. And there's all sorts of drama and tension. And a lot of secrets come out. And I can't tell you any of them. I really can't tell you much about the book in this podcast because I don't want to spoil the ending. But everything comes out and she reconnects with Reeve. And there are then a few more books in the series, at least 2, which I haven't read. But in the back of the copy of The Face on the Milk Carton that I have, they do have the first chapters of 2 of these books. And I'm not sure I like where they're going. I'm really, really nervous about it. So I'm going to have to read those, I think, and find out what actually happens to Janie and which set of parents she actually ends up with. It's all very stressful. It's a really good book, though. We've got a lot of really strong characters. You don't know what's coming. It's just full of twists and turns. And it's not like a really intense book where you're really scared or stressed all the time. And it's not really like a mystery where you're trying to solve it before the character does. Like, sometimes you read like Nancy Drew or Agatha Christie and it sort of feels like a competition with the protagonist. Like you want to figure out who did it before the main character does. It's not like that kind of book. It's just you're never quite sure what's happening, and it's tense, but it's sort of like a low level tense. It's not like a suspense novel, but she keeps you guessing, the author, and you get really connected to all of the characters. I mean, you don't really want her parents to be kidnappers either, because her parents are wonderful people. But at the same time, all of the facts are pointing to her parents being the kidnappers, and you don't know what to think. And Cooney handled all of that really well. It's really very impressive how much you want to trust all of the characters who you know should be the bad guys. It's really well written. The plot is well developed. It ties in the subplot really nicely. Grieve isn't really a big deal, and their relationship isn't terribly relevant to the main story of finding out who Janie's actual family is, but she makes it fit really nicely. It all feels like part of the same thing, and it's just Janie's a really great, relatable character, especially for the target audience, which would be, I'd say late middle school, up through probably all of high school. I'm 21 and I really enjoyed it. There's nothing really inappropriate in it, so kids who are fairly young could read it. The reading level isn't too bad either. Say, yeah, middle school is where you could start. Janie's just, she's trying to figure out who she is. Not just the really intense, are my parents actually my parents? Was I kidnapped when I was very young? What is my real name? That kind of figure out who you are, but at the beginning she's experimenting with spelling her name in different ways to sort of make it better represent her identity. And she's waiting to get her license and falling in love for the first time. And she's just discovered that she's lactose intolerant and trying to readjust to a life without milk, which can be really hard, I guess. And she's just young and happy and kind of scared about where the world is taking her. But she handles it, and it takes her a while to get it together, but it's a lot of stuff to figure out, and she does figure it out in the end, and she finds people that she can trust, and she solves this big mystery and figures out the best thing to do for everyone. She's a really strong character and a great role model for girls everywhere. And it's a really fun book, and you should all definitely go and read it right now.